enter the Dragon. It's from OCS Korea. And the situation here is, this is the 26th of November turn, and the UN has already taken their half of the turn. So what we're going to do here is finish off the half of the turn with the Chinese going. And we're just going to step through the phases here. First phase of a player turn is the aircraft refit. And if you can see up north in China here, I have some MiGs sitting on some of the air bases up north here. The other thing is, if you guys have any questions along the way, feel free to interrupt and ask.
Yeah, just jump right in. We appreciate it. It's what we're here for.
And for the aircraft, generally once you use an aircraft to do a mission, they'll go underneath the airfield, like I just marked the one here. And what you'd have to do in your aircraft refit phase is pay to push those guys back to active. But starting the game, they all start active. During my aircraft refit, go ahead.
Sorry, Jim. I was just going to say, if you want to notice, I got a couple of aircraft carriers with aircraft, one on each side of the peninsula. Where did I put the other one? Blends in so good, I can't. Yeah, I know it blends in so good, I couldn't even see it. And my guys are all activated too.
Okay, so after the refit phase, I go to the reinforcement phase, and this is where you'd roll for variable supply, for variable reinforcements, and any of your scheduled reinforcements. In this scenario, all we really get is a fixed amount of supply every turn. So for the Chinese, they get 4 SP per turn, so I'm going to bring those in. Oops. Put 2 up here. Now, can you guys see me moving this stuff around all right?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm going to put 2 right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and roll for my variable reinforcements. I'm sorry, variable replacements.
Korea charts on the controls, right?
Yeah, so if you go up to the Korea charts button, you open that up under the communist REPL supply table, you'll see I'm going to be rolling on that top table there. And this is just stuff that allows me to rebuild units that get damaged during the game. 6, so that's 1 PAX, which is 1 personnel replacement. So what I'm going to do is take that, he can go into any of my supply centers, and I'm going to put him right with the SP that I brought in. Now we get to the actual stuff, so I'm going to go ahead and start my movement phase, which is the next phase out. And we're going to start along the west coast here. We got this 149th Infantry Division. He's got a movement factor of 3, so what I'm going to do is move him right up to there. And since he's moving along the road there, it's only 1/2 per hex. This guy, and I'm going to move him 1, 1.5, 2.5. I'm going to take this guy, move him 1, 2, and 3. Now one of the other things you can do in OCS is when you move one of these big units, this 196 guy here, I'm going to get ready to move him. If you get that yellow 3, that's the number of steps he has. And during the movement phase, you can take and create breakdown units from those guys. I'm going to create a breakdown unit there. And when you do that, you take a step away from the big division. That is because I want that regiment to. Oops.
Yeah, if any of you guys don't know,
I have there.
The 12 is the combat strength, the 3 is the movement strength on those divisions, and the 2 is the action rating, which is very important.
So I'm going to go ahead and move him down 1, 2, and 3.
You want to explain to them why you left the breakdown?
Yeah, I left the breakdown there to garrison the supply I have there. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my headquarter unit here. He has a movement factor of 0. If I flip him to the move mode, he has a movement factor of 4. And I'm going to jump him on top of there as well.
First number on the headquarters is their throw range, which is how far they can
throw their supply. Take this 167th Division up here, and I'm going to flip him over to the move mode. We're going to move him 4 along the road. 2, 3, and for the last one up here, 4. I'm going to finish up my movement there. I'm going to move over to the center here, and I get this 125th Division that's sitting here. And what he's going to do is he's going to attack this breakdown unit in an overrun. So the first thing I have to do is pay for supply. So when you're paying for supply in OCS, it costs 1 token per step. And this guy has 3 steps, and it's costing me basically what we call 3T. So in order to do that, I'm going to have this headquarters here. It's going to throw the supply to that guy. He's sitting on a stack here. So he's going to reduce this to... Oops. So from there he's paid his 3T that he needs to attack, and he's going to attack Bill's unit there.
Hey, now I need to spend 1 T for defense. Hey, all paid for.
So now that he's paid for his thing, next this is where the action ratings come in. Right now I'm going to attack at 12 to 3, and it's his defense strength, so we're looking at 4 to 1. But I have a 4 action rating, and Bill has a 2 action rating. And what we do in this case is we roll for surprise, what they call surprise, and this may give us defensive or offensive shifts depending on how it turns out. And since I have a 4, Bill's 2, I get to add 2 to the roll. And then an overrun attack, if I roll 9 or more, I gain surprise. So we're going to go ahead and roll here.
5 or less, I'll get surprised, but that's pretty unlikely.
So I end up with a 7. So there's no surprise here, so we're going to go with a straight 4 to 1 attack. Now if we look at the terrain here, he's in what's considered low hills. If you go to the Korea charts and look at the terrain, the TEM chart, you'll see that low hills is classified as close for combat. And why that makes a difference is if you look at the OCS 4.0 charts, look at the combat table, you'll notice there's different terrain types on the top here. I can't point them out to you, but there's an open close, very close, and extra close. So it makes a difference in what type of terrain you're attacking into. So in this case I'm attacking 4 to 1 in close. And again, because of the action ratings, I'll get to add 2 to that roll. So I rolled the possible lowest thing you can roll.
Wow, am I lucky.
Yeah, so it ends up being a 4. And if you look at the chart, that corresponds to an AL101 DO1. So an AL1 means I lose a step. So he's going to...
O1s for both sides are options.
So go ahead and I'm going to mark this guy. And he's in hex A2603. I just saw the suggestion from Justin there. So my guy has to lose a step, and then I have to take an option. And my option is I can lose a step or I can retreat. And in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and retreat 1 hex.
Now, if Jim had taken his option, he could have took another loss, and that would have forced me to take my... Then I would have had to take my option, which would have been either to lose...
It for that overrun attack. That cost his entire movement. So here I'm just going to move some units around just to get him in position for the combat phase. I'm going to mark the 120th Division, which is in hex 2007, with a reserve marker, and move him up 1 hex. And when you put a unit in reserve, it can move up to a quarter of its movement phase in the movement. And it can always move 1 hex, so we're just going to plop them right there for now. The rest of these guys I think I'm pretty much just going to let sit for now. So we're going to move up toward the chosen reservoir. Right now, since it's late November, all of the rivers and stuff are actually water. They'll freeze in December, which means I'll be able to move over them. But for now, Oops.
Dark brown hexes are rough, correct?
The dark brown are mountain. The mountain hex, unless you're going along a trail or something, you can only move one hex.
Right.
Moving stuff through the mountains and through the rough, you have to pay attention to your supply here. Trace supply in particular, but we'll get to that when we take
when I was first learning
trail.
When I was first learning OCS, I had a lot of trouble figuring out trace for whatever reason.
These two units up near 2817, I'm going to flip them both to movement mode, just to get a little extra out of them.
Watched a few divisions disappear because they're out of. Got to move again right now with these holes in my line. He could be cutting me up pretty good.